And welcome to Tailgate Talk. Ritter, Wags, Tasker, all together. Well, Wags at home remote today, but that's, the world we live in is, we've learned to be separate at times. Wags being the busy guy he is, between baseball and deer hunting, which we're going to talk a bit about deer hunting being opening day of bow season here in Wisconsin today and some of our goals of the upcoming season. Plus, going to go through a little bag dump. This is an idea that Tasker had a couple weeks ago, mentioned the things that we carry with us. So I actually have my bag in studio today, and I'm going to break down kind of what I carry with me, why. More so, I've got it set up for opening weekend here of what I'm going to carry early in the season when the weather's warm and in the 80s like we have now. Maybe we'll touch on some deer care again, which we could be a bit of a reminder with things. But to kick it off, what's been new since last week, Wags?
Well, okay, so we got a little thing. Mr. Tasker stopped over at the old Wagner house the other day, and we learned how to actually use and put together. I've learned how to use the climber, and unfortunately for some, it's not going away for free. I really enjoyed it. I've done it one more time since Tasker has left.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yes, but for anybody to know, when we were standing out in the woods and Task points up about 35 feet and says, "That's how high I go." I'm still around the 6 to 8 foot range right now, up and down, trying to learn it before I even try to conquer a height that high.
So now put that in perspective of me with sticks in a stand, that I'm climbing 20 feet into a tree with sticks and putting a stand up.
Absolutely. You guys nuts. Yeah, I'm old and you're young.
But you know what, Wags, I have to say, I mean, it like I said, I kept telling you beforehand, I said, I don't think it's going to take very long to put together. So, it was 10 minutes or whatever, just put a couple straps on, the stirrups on. We were able to load it up and get out there, and you were on the tree in a matter of a couple minutes, for the first time. That's not surprising. And then you just kind of were working your way up and down. And I thought I know you were feeling very uncomfortable about it, but I mean, for me, it's so comfortable because it's something that I've done for so long.
You're used to it.
It's a comfort thing.
It's like anything. Think about, Wags, you being a major leaguer and throwing, a fastball all the time. At first, maybe it would have felt weird throwing a different pitch, or even while you were learning different pitches, but it just took practice, and over time, you became comfortable with it. Now it's like second nature to do some of those things. I kind of feel this is the same sort of scenario.
And it is. It's much more, it's a lot more secure. It's very safe. It's sturdy. Whenever I put my weight down, my full 220 pounds of it, I'm always waiting for something to slip. I see these teeth that are in the back of the climber, and I'm like, okay, these teeth got to be big grabbers. No, every tooth is shaved down, so it's almost like a flat edge going into the tree, and then you have the cable, and I'm like, man, this has got to slip. Something's got to go wrong. But the cables are securely put, and obviously those who are listening that have these know exactly what I'm talking about. And you know what? It keeps that correct angle. So when I gradually put my full weight onto it, it does not slip. It doesn't jaunt. It doesn't go anywhere. It's pretty solid and secure, and that's what makes it easier. Although, like I told you, I've only gone up about 6 to 8 feet. I've gone up, down a few times, and that's about it. So, but yeah, very, very nice. And as you said, the more you do it, the more you learn it, just like anything in life.
Now, Wags, are you wearing a safety harness?
I lost you there for a second.
Okay. Are you wearing a safety harness, Wags?
Well, no, because I asked my instructor, and my instructor said he never wears it.
Okay.
You had to put it out there.
All right, so here's where the safety man is going to jump in. But actually, honestly, I think when you're saying like you're climbing and you feel like something's going to fall or something's going to give, wearing a safety harness and climbing with a lineman's belt at the same time, then nothing can go wrong. The worst that happens is you lean back. I mean, I use a lineman's belt to get up and down the tree. And most of the time I'm hanging off the tree because I'm hanging by my lineman's belt. I feel completely safe because I'm attached there. I mean, I'm never more than, 2 to 2.5 feet away from the tree. I'm right there to pull. So if you're feeling, uneasy about something might fall or whatever, that would be my recommendation, is to make sure that you're wearing a harness and using a lineman's belt, because then mentally that even if something slips or goes, you're not going to go tumbling straight to the ground. The lineman's belt, you're going to stay attached. You just lean back and you're attached to the tree.
Yeah.
Right. No, exactly. And I do, foot, upper. I just call them uppers and lowers. So I got the lower, upper, lower. So if there's two things that are moving parts that I have to adjust, the third one, just sliding up that safety line, is not a hard thing. But going up 6 to 8 feet, I think I really wanted to concentrate on my footwork, that bungee cord around, just kind of. Not because it's a claustrophobic type situation, but you're strapped in there. Granted, you can rip open that bungee cord and you can get out of those stirrups pretty quick. But I just wanted to kind of see how it was. And you're right. I mean, it's simple. It's no reason why you can't do it. Just add one more piece of sliding that up into your repertoire. Basically, you go up, up, up.
Yeah.
Down, 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 up, up, up. I mean, you can add one more piece, and the safety line is obviously the most secure one, so that's the safety issue.
All right, and I got a video sent from the Wagner Ranch from Tasker last week, and I got to see the zoo that is the Wagner Ranch with the how many chickens do you have running around?
Oh, he said, I got 13 right now that are laying, and we got 12 that are going to be ready, so we'll have 25 chickens.
Wags, why are you holding out at me? Why are you got farm fresh eggs, and you're holding out. You've been holding out all these years.
You let me know. They lay an egg a day, so believe me, they stack up. Wow. They're all dated. My daughter does it. She puts the dates on them, and when we get to a little bit towards the end, I don't know if you know that when eggs are bad or when they're supposed to be discarded, they float. So my daughter will put them in a bowl, and we mark them, and we just mark the check date. So we'll mark the date she grabbed them out of the coop. And then we mark them on the check dates to make sure that they're still good. And obviously we go, the first one's in or the first one's out. So we try to do it as good as that. But yeah, you want eggs, I can bring you eggs. Right now we're getting 13 a day. And when these other 12 go, it'll be about 25.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to have so many eggs to get rid of. I mean, I volunteer as tribute, or you're going to have to, have the daughter setting up a little roadside stand there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's going to be crazy. She wants to do it. There's a farmer's market here. There's a couple of them. She wants to sit, and you know what? If she sells them for $3 a dozen, whatever. I think it's great for her. It's great learning. But the thing with my chickens is people have told me that they don't necessarily lay year round. My chickens lay year round. I have all layers. So now I will have 25 layers. The 13 that I have right now, they lay nonstop throughout the year. I have no roosters, and fortunately, knock on wood, I have no predators. I have no coons, coyotes, or anything coming into there, and everything seems to be safe and stable, and they are free range.
When they stop laying, then you're going to have stewards.
You're exactly right. We're going to have sandwiches.
What's funny about this, so Wags was kind enough to pay me for my services of being out there and helping get them, set up in the tree stand and everything with a dozen eggs. And he's walking around and he's like, well, they're laying in a couple different spots. So, I just got to find a couple of them, So I take my dozen eggs. I go home. Sherry and I went out for dinner that night. Wags happened to go out for dinner that night. And about 9:30 or 9:45 on Saturday night, he calls me in a panic. And he's like, hey, I just want to let you know, I think I gave you one of our fake eggs. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, we got to put them out so they kind of know where they're laying them, and they've always got something to sit on. And so I'm almost positive you got one of the fake ones. So I'll have to give that one. We haven't stumbled on it yet. We probably had about half the dozen so far, and we haven't stumbled on that one yet. So I'll make sure to bring that one back and make sure you get it back in the barn.
Yeah, now remember, we were at Alpine Retreat, so I did have a couple old fashions, and I thought for sure I got rid of the fake egg. So if you don't come across it, but like I did say, you don't wash them. And if somebody's listening or they know more than I do, they seem to last longer if you don't wash them, so we don't clean them.
Yeah.
When you take an egg out of the coop, we've always just left them in the cartons, and I guess the protective coating that comes with it when they lay their eggs are protective for, obviously, climate issues and stuff like that. Maybe it's got a dampened smell or an odor, sort of like when they say fawns can have an odorless feet to them where only bears can sniff them out. Sometimes I've heard that. But, yeah, so we keep the eggs dirty, so when you get a dozen eggs, you look at it and you go, Could you clean them up a little bit, Paul?
No, that's exactly it. There's that exterior coating that protects some things. But so I suppose I don't have to ask the question what's new with you, Tasker, because we know that was a part of what was new, being instructor for Wagner.
Yeah, which was actually a lot of fun. It's funny because at one point when we're getting up in the tree, Wags, we were talking about how it's a comfort thing, and Wags looks over at me and he's like, Jesus, look at you. You're just all over the place in that thing. You're like sitting on the side of it. And, because we were only maybe, 8 feet apart in a tree. We happened to find trees that were nice and close together. I was sitting on the side, so instead of sitting parallel with it, I was sitting perpendicular with it on the armrest, basically watching Wags, making sure that he was doing everything right. He's like, Jesus, look at you. You're like just sitting on the side of it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm very, very comfortable in my tree stand. And so that was good. But what I really enjoyed about that was that I unpacked and loaded my tree stand onto the tree. I even said something to Wags before I went over there. I said, hey, I think I need to get another wing nut for one of the stirrups that go, hold the feet in place. Which I was glad I checked that, because I must have done that right after the season last year. And it was just good to go up and go down, unpack, pack, make sure I had everything on there. So I'm excited about that. I think we'll end up talking about this later, but I got 2 camera arms, like the flexible camera arms. So I have one for my GoPro, one for my cheap little video camera. So I got that all set up, and then just really been shooting every day, trying to get in some reps and making sure that everything's good. And one of the things I sent this, I told you about this week. I've got these BMPs, these ballistic match points.
Those are the crazy field points that you had sent picture to about?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I like about that is because I switched to these G5 Mega Meats this year, they're actually aerodynamically tested or ballistically tested to match the same flight pattern as what the broadheads are.
Okay.
And what's nice about that is you're not shooting an expandable into your target,
right,
and you're not shooting your actual arrows you're going to be using in the woods. You can replicate your flight with these, which I started doing that this week too. And I didn't notice any difference, but, I was within 20 yards, so it's not like it was long flight patterns or anything. So I'm actually going to run out and shoot another round or 2 and make sure that everything's good out at Buck Rub, and just make sure that, flights outside of, 25 yards, which, that 25 to 30 yards, 35 yards is probably going to be where we're shooting deer at. So I just want to make sure, but it's such a nice thing to have, you don't have to worry about what is it going to fly like when you're actually shooting your broadheads then. So that was nice. And then, just getting pumped up for the season, and here we are.
I know, we're here. We're at season. You mentioned Buck Rub, by the way. Tailgate Talk brought to you by Buck Rub Outfitters, or buckrubarchery.com is where you look them up. You can go there. Pro shop there, fantastic. And my wife and I were just out there last week, did a little shooting on our date night, got her sighted in, and she's shooting out to 40 yards now. So she's all pumped and stoked. She's ready to hit the 3D course, I think, with us and start shooting outside, which is something she's really excited about being able to do. And, whether you're new to archery or you've been around it for a long time, you got an old bow laying around, you're thinking you want to get back into bow hunting, seriously, bring it in, go see them. They're going to get you set up with everything and can service, your current bows and stuff they have. Just the service. My wife says it all the time. She's like, they're the nicest people, and especially as a female, she's like, a place where you think you'd feel intimidated. She's like, I've never felt that. I've always felt welcome, and everyone's so nice. Kaz is giving it a hard time. We talked about it on this show, when she had taken a long break from not shooting, we started shooting again. And the first time, the dumb me that I didn't catch, she was doing everything right, except for some reason she wasn't looking through her peep.
Sure.
And I don't know how I didn't catch it. It's like archery 101, but first thing Kaz says when he sees her, goes, so you looking through the peep this time? She's like, he's never going to forget.
Never.
I'm like, no,
never.
No, it's great. So go check them out again, buckrubarchery.com. We're going to actually have Kaz on the show next week.
Yep.
So we're going to get a chance to talk to him about, what it's like being in the archery industry as long as he has, and all the people he knows, and, the fact that he's a big part of, conservation and deer hunting in the state of Wisconsin, and sits on the board and heads all of these things with deer hunting. So it's going to be great to get some insight from that side of things, almost like kind of the political side of hunting, because we know that there's both sides. There's the actual hunting, and there's a lot of politics that go into setting seasons and limits and all these things. So that'll be really cool. But we'll take a quick break, circle back around. I've got some updates on a couple of things we talked about on the show here, including last week we were mentioning Canada and waterfowl hunters not being able to allowed to bring birds back into the States. Well, this is a whole preventing of bird flu, and it wasn't even the Canadian government that put this rule in. This was the U.S. Department of Agriculture that said you can't do it. What was the argument that I brought up last week? These are migratory waterfowl. I can't shoot them, kill them in Canada, and bring them here to States, but that bird can then freely fly on its own from Canada into the United States. Didn't make sense. Well, apparently a lot of people have kind of said the same thing to the point that, oh, lo and behold, earlier this week, there's an update from the USDA. They now allow imported of harvested birds from Canada. So I guess you can't, trap a duck or a goose and bring it back. But as long as you dispatch of said duck, goose, or other fowl, then
before
you're allowed.
crossing the border.
That rule, when it came up, I remember last week saying I just thought it was ridiculous.
Can you imagine the flurry of emotions if you're on a week-long hunt up there and, 2 days in, you get this notification saying you can't bring them back. So you probably change your game plan, or you start, harvesting and having them for dinner or meals or whatever.
Shore lunch has changed. We ain't eating walleyes anymore.
Yeah, and then by the end of your trip, you're able to bring them home again. I mean, it's just, I don't know. God, I couldn't imagine. If your timing was exactly that, God, how terrible would that be? Yeah, not good.
All right. Another story I wanted to touch on. This is actually something we covered a lot back in an episode, I think it was last March. The episode is titled, What Would Wags Do? Now, the news story has nothing to do with wags, but this is about that corner crossing situation that happened in Wyoming. Now, if you remember back to what was going on, there was a ranch owner that was throwing a fit because 4 Missouri hunters had used a ladder to cross over the airspace of his property. So if you're not familiar, and we talked about it on the show, a lot of the land out there it's all block. So you'll have a block that's private, right next to a block that's public, next to a block that's private. And it all kind of forms this big checkerboard pattern between public and private. And this is the way they split things up back in the railroad days, and this is just, how it is out there. So the problem becomes there's a lot of these pieces of public land that are landlocked by private, and the only way to get to them is over a corner. Well, legally, the way the laws are written, that it's not the land, even if you don't step on the actual land. This is why these guys thought they're smart to use a ladder, so they're stepping on public and the ladder's crossing over. They're saying that the airspace is their land as well. That was the argument. Well, back in, I think it was April, these 4 Missouri hunters were acquitted and said, no, they didn't do anything wrong. They actually didn't step on it and whatever. Well, now the owner of Elk Mountain Ranch, which is this is the ranch that is right next to this that they crossed over, is claiming $7 million in damages because of these 4 Missouri hunters that crossed over his airspace. So the documents that were filed from his attorney basically say that the owner of the ranch is claiming between $3.1 and $7.5 million. Again, I mentioned these hunters never set foot on the ranch. They used the ladder to cross, okay? Why the damages? Why claiming now $7.75 million in damages? Well, they're saying that now that it's okay, or these people were allowed to corner cross, it's now devalued the property of his ranch by 10 to 25%. Then they say that a decision to legalize corner crossing could devalue the ranch in total by the fact that it's no longer a closed property and it's open to public crossing.
So he is basically saying that him not having private access to this other parcel that these public land hunters were.
Him having exclusive access on his property to this public land is now devaluing his property
by 25%.
Because he's basically using the public land as part of his property, and now that land is open to others, now that's devalued his ranch.
Okay. I was thinking that it was going to be, because my question that I would ask in response to that is, how many elk or mule deer or whatever these guys were out hunting, how many would you have to kill in order to qualify for $7 million in damages? Even if you extrapolate that out over 30 years of reproduction, that's an expensive harvest.
Remember, the number that they're coming up with is based on the value of his property.
Right.
So you're taking the total value of whatever his property was, estimated at, and that's where they're doing the 10 to 25%. So the 25. So think about the value of his property. If 25% of it is $7.75 million, start to the math real quick.
So it's $30 million.
Right. More than that.
Well, let's say this then. What if they come back and just say, okay, now the public land will be sold that you are using to extend your property. Now the public land is up for auction and it will be sold. So I mean, I get it. I know what he's saying. He's got a free reserve. You see that all the time up north when people buy hunting land and parcels that butt up to national forests or stuff like that. Not that they're not accessible to the public. They are. But in this situation, obviously they aren't. But again, he's getting free acreage. He's getting free hunting access. So I'm assuming he's looking for a buyout. He's looking for a governmental easement, someone to pay him for his troubles. I'm assuming because he's not going to sell his property.
He's suing these 4 hunters for that, saying that by them corner crossing,
suing the 4 hunters.
Yeah, he's suing the 4 hunters.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, I thought he was coming after the governmental issue that said that the 4 hunters were legal in their crossing.
No.
Oh,
So
he's suing 4 hunters. Well, then that's.
They've caused devaluing of this. This is a civil suit. Caused devaluing of his property. It's all about money all the time.
It's always about that. Yeah.
I feel terrible when I say it because I feel like I'm speaking out of turn. I am not a landowner. I'm not a landowner from out west. I don't really have a leg to stand on or really know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just a guy in the Midwest that's spouting my mouth off of opinions. But I feel like anyone that has 2 brain cells can realize that, like, all of this stuff always comes back to money. And like you've just said, he has a property that butts up against the the public land. And he's utilizing the public land as his private land, essentially, because he thinks that no one can have access to it. And now he's mad that someone else was allowed to go on it. And it's taking my ball and going home, or you're going to pay me because it's all about my... I get that it's big business, and I get that it's a business thing. And that's where, like, again, I feel bad because I'm speaking out of turn. But at what point do you just be like, it's not my land, it's not my land. Up sucks, that's the law. Like, that's the way it is. Or is that just me saying that because I don't have the land and I don't know. I don't even know where I'm trying to go with this, but it always frustrates me when it comes down to these people that are like filing these huge lawsuits and making about millions and millions of dollars. When this is all just about people that are trying to enjoy the outdoors and feed their family.
I feel like that's such a hard, knowing that it is against these 4 individual hunters, that's a very aggressive lawsuit.
Well, it's because he was mad that in the original lawsuit, or the original, suit when he pressed charges that they corner crossed, that they stepped on his property, that got tossed out. So now he's mad. Now I got to sue somebody. I got to make my money.
So they have no merit then to stand their case on.
That's exactly what they're saying. Is the precedent, I think, is set once it becomes that it's okay to do the corner cross. Like they've already said back in April that it was that they weren't illegal. Right. There's no foot to stand on for this lawsuit. It's going to get tossed out too.
Yeah.
Well, no, that public parcel isn't surrounded by private land. There's other access to it. This
on the corner,
just an easier way.
Yeah, on the corner is the only access to it. As I mentioned, it's that grid pattern. Think of like your checker or your chessboard. Imagine all of the red squares are private land and the black squares are the public. They're technically all 4 sides are surrounded by private land on that piece of free public. But if you go corner to corner, that's the only way to get from public to public to public is to, move diagonally across the board.
Yeah, right.
So he obtains all 4 pieces and parcels that are surrounded. So maybe he has parcel A that butts up to it. Now he buys B, C, and D, and he thinks now that I bought all the parcels that surround the public land, it's my public land.
Exactly.
I got you.
Okay, so how about this for a conspiracy theory? So this guy's going to sue these 4 individuals. Somehow he's going to win the suit. He's going to work in cahoots with the government. He's going to get $7.29 million, and he's going to pay the government $7.29 million for that parcel now. So he's going to use this leverage of this $7 million payday for the government.
You should start a podcast or some sort of YouTube channel.
Okay, well, I'm going to just mark this down. We've got record of it. That when it sells for $7.298 million.
Start
a TikTok conspiracy. That will go viral for you.
I could. I did hear about one other story. So in Colorado, where we go and hunt, there's a public area where a lot of people are walking their dogs and doing a lot of that. I just recently was able to pull my cards from our trail cameras up north, which I still haven't found my last one, unfortunately. I have actually been sitting in the stand and had a dog run underneath my stand after a doe. Okay.
Yep.
So this time I actually had 3 pictures of a deer with a not of a deer, of a dog with a GPS collar that was on the cameras. So our bear season, you can either bait or you can run dogs.
They were running dogs.
So they were running dogs. And in Colorado, this bow hunter kills their neighbor's dog because it was running around and chasing deer while she was out bow hunting.
Okay.
How do you ever have a cordial relationship with your neighbors?
You don't.
After that.
It's not possible. It's never going to happen. Kind of crazy bringing it up. I had one piece of property that I used to have access to that I duck hunted. It was along like a little river that it was like border. It was just on the, outside of city limits area where I could legally hunt. This was, up in northeastern Wisconsin, and it was a farm property. And this landowner, their dog followed us out one morning as we were walking, and we got set up and we were duck hunting on the river. This dog suddenly it followed us, and then the dog just disappeared. We have no clue where the dog went. Well, we come back there like 2 weeks later or something, and this person accuses us of killing her dog. I think she was a little off the rails anyway, a little bonkers. But no, we did. I said, no, your dog just followed, and we tried to bring it back. The dog disappeared. We have no clue where it ever went.
Right.
I have no clue. It's not my dog. I wasn't not responsible. I have no clue what happened with it. That's a different story than intentionally killing the dog. You can never have a cordial relationship.
Yikes. Yeah. Okay. Well, and it does say that he assumed that the dogs were. It was actually a guy. I think it was a female that was jogging with her dogs.
Okay.
One got off the leash.
Do they look like coyotes? Otherwise, I'm
it
sorry.
Doesn't really say. It just says assume that the dogs were loose and out of control because he didn't recognize them or see a person with them.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm not killing any dog. Period.
So
I don't care what.
He was hunting
on
his family property. So it sounds like he wasn't the actual resident. It was family property. Yeah. So it could just be neighbor dogs that he was not familiar with. But either way, what are you shooting a dog for?
Yeah, I'm not shooting dogs. I'm not even going to shoot coyotes. And I know that most people are like, I'm going to shoot all of them.
I'm going to shoot a coyote if I see one.
You're not shooting coyotes.
I'll shoot them, Wags. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay, me.
I just don't know if I can tell Sherry about it because they look so similar to our dog.
That's why. Okay, I love dogs for one, too, and you guys know my theory on everything when it comes to nature and the outdoors. I am not going to kill something unless I intend to fully honor that thing's losing its life and utilizing it in a way to feed myself, to take, you know what I mean? So if I'm not going to eat it, I'm not going to kill it. That's why I won't kill a coyote. Simply. I get the damage they do and I get the problems they can be, but one, it's a dog. It looks like a dog. And two, if I'm not going to eat it, I'm not going to kill it. So that's my reasoning.
Yeah. When I first started doing the 3D leagues, Sherry made it very clear to me that I was not allowed to shoot foxes or coyotes at 3D League. I'm like, well, I'm not going to take a 0 on this. Yeah. So,
right, we're running along here, but I want to quick get before we wrap up with you, Wags, and send you on your way here. I just want to kind of quickly touch on, as archery season's officially here, some goals. Is there any goals specifically you have for this archery season?
Well, it's kind of funny that we bring that up right now because when Tasker was over here, we were kind of contemplating how our harvest plan was going to take place this year. Obviously, you always want the big buck on your wall, and I want the trophy, and I want to see pictures, and I want to hunt a specific deer. Though I don't name them, I always want to get a big one, and I'd like to do it. But I think you put it into perspective for me that I think we're going to harvest. I think my plan this year is to early season harvest a bunch of does, take them in quickly. You get so many tags included on your original archery permit. You can buy additional ones here. I'm in Dodge County with the agriculture area, so I can purchase them. I think that's what my plan is going to be. This year I'm going to go early season doe, take them to the processor, and like Task said, he said then that way we can take them into either whatever facility we use or whichever one is of our preference, and we can get back the meat, the beef sticks, and the hot sticks before gun season starts. So that saves you on summer sausage and this and that. So I think that's my plan. I'm gonna harvest a few does early, take them in, get them processed, and then have that for the whole hunting season. And then come late November, mid-November, early November, then I can just strictly concentrate on hunting horn.
Tasker?
Yeah. So I have 2 goals for this year. One, I would like to film a hunt where I am actually successful. I've got tons of video content of just being out there and seeing deer and all of that. I think I put myself in a position where I think that I'm able to figure that out now. I think that my camera setup will be a little bit different from down here versus up north when I go up hunting, because I've actually got a really nice camera mount for the tree. It's just too much to set up and tear down every single time that I get in.
Yep.
So like I said, I got those clamp arms that have the flexible mount on them that are easy to move around. So I would like to film a harvest. That's one goal. My second goal would be, if we have a great year, when we have a great year, I'd like to shoot 2 does and a buck this year.
2 does and a buck. That's good. I personally, my plan is to shoot 2 deer. Period. I told my wife that I'm getting 2 deer this year. I mean, I know that I saw more than enough to do that last year.
Right.
But I just, I passed on a lot, and so that's, I guess, not going to happen. Ultimately, I would love to here opening weekend. I'd love to get it done and at least get a doe down.
A doe,
but
yeah.
If there's a decent buck, that I might just fill the buck tag right away, because at the end of the day, I want to get something in the freezer and then I'm back to fishing.
Yeah, because as we all know, boy, you can see a buck and not see a buck ever again that season. So
leave me last year, when I had my chance.
If you get a chance, and that's kind of where I'm at too. It's like, I mean, I know that we've got a number of 6s and 8s and a couple really nice 8s up north. I mean, I have no idea what to expect down here because we don't really have any recon outside of just hoping and fingers crossed that buck survived from last year. But, yeah, I mean, if it's something that I think I would hang on the wall, I'm not going to not shoot it, I guess, right? I mean...
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that real quick. But, you always hear those guys say, is that a buck that you would shoot the last day? Would you pass on the first day and shoot the last day? And they say, well, if you're going to shoot it the last day, then you should shoot.
Bingo.
No, I'm against that, Ritter. I'm against that. I agree that, hey, if I'm going to hunt and I got some recon or I got some photos or I got some inspirational insight that says a big 180 incher is going to walk by, though I would shoot him on the last day so I don't have to eat tag soup, that's one thing. But to sit out for your 10 days or the weekends that you can get out, though I'm not the big fisherman like you or waterfowl hunter or anything like that, so my concentration is on harvesting a buck. So, yes, I would pass early on my buck, take my does, and then wait. And if that's the buck that comes back on my last day, I would use it for that. But no, I'm not those guys that says, well, if you're going to shoot it the first day, then you'd shoot it the last day, or if you'd shoot it the last day, you should shoot it the first day. No, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for the big one. I'm always in hope.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you got some of our goals. We'll let you go there, Wags. We're going to circle back around here. I've got my pack with me. I'm going to do kind of a little gear unpacking for mobile, what I bring. Tasker wanted to see it, and I think this could help others, especially early in the season, of what to bring and specifically why I bring things the way that I do. So you can check out pictures and more. It's going to be up on our socials On the Tailgate, and we'll catch up next week, okay, Wags?
Yep, sounds good. I look forward to coming in studio and talking to Kaz and getting some things ironed out. So I'll see you guys next week. Have a good week.
Cool. See ya.
I've had sitting next to me all day here the pack that I carry into the woods, and this is something I know, Tasker, you and I talked about, kind of doing a bag dump type show and talking about some things, and so I thought I'd run down some of the stuff that I bring. So what compartment should I start with? That's kind of a question here. Which, by the way, see how ratty this bag is here? Like, I'm tearing out in the bottom. I've had this pack since I was a sophomore in high school.
Wow.
And I'm now 37 years old. So start doing the math on it.
That's like 6 years ago.
Right. I wish it was 6 years ago. But obviously it's seen better days. So if you have a pack recommendation, and I'm talking something around that like $100 to maybe a little less than $100 range, I mean, I don't want to go too crazy. I do have a big like full frame like carry-on hiking pack that like if I were to ever go out west, I could use that. Right. I'm just looking for like a whitetail type thing that can carry just layers of clothes. Yeah, some basic stuff. So if you've got a brand, something specific, why don't you let us know On the Tailgate socials, or just my socials, at The Real Ritter, real as in fishing reel, which by the way, Eric Tasker is at Wisco Bow Hunting to connect socially there as well. But I will start, with in my side pouch here on the bag. Now, someone from my other show, Shannon, the other co-host, had asked about my beautiful little pink dog leash I had going on here. Why do I have this? Well, it's because I'm testing out a theory this year. So was it Hunter Safety System sells that retractable thing to bring your bow and everything up into the stand? Well, why would I spend $25 on something when this like $8 dog leash does the exact same thing. That as I climb and it's attached to me,
Right.
it's just coming out. I get to the top of the tree, I pull it all up, and lo and behold, it retracts right into itself. Now I have a bit of paracord tied to it because this is only 16 feet, and I want that little bit of extra.
Yeah.
So, like, this little bit of extra, if it's just, like, laying there in the ground or whatever while I'm climbing, it's no big deal. And then when I get up and I need it, it's there to stretch out. So that's what I'm going to do. And then, obviously, this little bit of extra paracord I just wrap around the outside.
Yep.
And it lives in my side pouch. And then when I need to come down the tree, same thing. I pull it out, clip everything on, send it down, and I climb right down the tree. Now, I've changed. My harness has not arrived yet. It should be here today, hopefully. As you know, we're actually, I mean, truth be told, recording this before opening day Saturday because, well, we're in trees.
We'll be in the woods right
now.
Yeah.
But I've set up a new system on my harness, so I've got I ended up going with the Summit Pro tree stand harness because it has the Molly system on it, so I can attach things. So I've got a real cool like dump bag that sets with a Molly system that will hold the straps that hold my hanger stand onto it. Now, how I've done it like last year was I had like a little mesh pouch basically that I'd keep those in and would, carabiner it onto my other harness as I climbed and pull it out, and then I just put that all the way. So to have this dump pouch that's going to live there and hold that is going to be sweet. And then while I'm sitting there, I can either fold the dump pouch out because it's meant to like fold up, or I just keep it there. I can set my phone in it or whatever and have it easily accessible without having to like dig into pockets and get things. And it's, fairly small enough. So that's what'll live there. And I've got my lineman's belt, which I always would just sit in the outside pouch here of my bag. It's still living there right now. But I might actually keep that in the dump pouch, too, for the walk out.
Sure.
So the lineman's belt. Here I've got what used to be the safety, the retention thing that hangs off your like basic thing that comes with it. I attach this onto my first stick and use this as an aider.
Okay.
So my first stick, I can get myself an extra, 3 to 4 feet,
whatever feet,
off the ground without, so I can hang my stick at eye level and climb up. So that gives me the extra time to do the aider. I may eventually add aiders onto my sticks or do a movable aider to climb up to get higher. But for now, that's how I do it. And again, I keep that in the outside. So again, as soon as I get there, I obviously would pull out lineman's belt, pull out my aider, put it on my first stick, round, and go up the tree.
Okay.
So that's what I got for that. Inside, we'll do the main compartment. That's where I'll always keep down at the bottom. I kind of put it in layers and heaviest. So the heaviest layer will be the bottom, and I'll stack it up because I try and wear minimal out to not sweat. And as I'm sitting there and I need to add more layers, I just dig into the top and grab more. I also will usually have the very top will be my binos and my rangefinder on my, the Vortex binos, Vortex rangefinder, all in my Vortex harness. Again, I keep it in the pack for the way out. Once I get in the tree, then I put it on. So that's normally the very top of my inside. So like I said, then after that, there'll be layers of clothing. I keep a couple of extra
Which we probably won't need a whole lot this weekend.
No, and that's why I have none in there right now.
Okay.
Couple of bungees and stuff. Right now, the very bottom of my bag has like a little like pouch thing that I put my straps in. Just I kept them in there so I don't lose them.
Yeah.
So those are living in there for right now. But a couple of extra bungees and stuff because you never know what you might need that for. Sitting down on the bottom of my pack. So that's what I keep there in my main compartment. Coffee, I usually have like a small little thermos too that I kind of set that around the side and the inside to keep a little coffee out there. The outside, this pocket. Now, this is where I keep hand warmers. I try and keep the most accessible stuff that I might need in this outside pouch. A lot of times I'll have like a spare pair of gloves sitting in here. Obviously, being warm weekend, I'm not going to need gloves. I don't have them now. But I'll have a spare pair of gloves in this outside pouch. As I mentioned, the hand warmers. I've got a spare little light. Now, this is like a sweet little Harbor Freight. I keep 2 of these in my tackle crate, too. It's $1 a piece. They're LED. It's like this huge, bright LED strip. Whoop, if I hit it again.
I was
see
going to
how bright that thing is?
Make sure your batteries are good.
And then it's got like 3 LED bulbs to be like a little flashlight on one end. And on the top of it, it's that big, bright.
Right.
And what's cool about it is it's got this little hook that comes off. I can hook it on something if I need. Say it's tracking. I need to gut something and it's dark out. I can hang this on anything. And you've got this awesome light while out in the woods. So I'd like to keep that in the outside pouch. Let's see.
Because you aren't a headlamp.
I am a headlamp person, but what if your headlamp goes out? Something like that, too. Like, I always like to keep that. I've got a Camel Compact of camouflage paint that I keep in this little pocket that's inside here as well. I typically do the burning of corks and use that as face
hot tip
paint.
from last year.
Hot tip, which is also on my YouTube channel. I've got that on there kind of showing how to do it and how it's free face paint. But just back up, I keep this Camel Compact with me. I've actually got a thing of matches in here, which, I mean...
Yeah, I remember pulling up last year while you were sitting there with just your dome light on in your car, and I thought you were, like, ripping a bowl or something in the car. All this smoke just coming out from the driver's seat, and I'm thinking...
This is not Colorado or Illinois. This is the state of Wisconsin. I've got a little Ziploc bag here with toilet paper that I've rolled up.
Okay.
So I take right off the roll. I've rolled, I don't know how many feet here. You never know when you're going to need toilet paper.
For one round.
Right. Whether it's an emergency in the woods or it's to mark a trail, something, toilet paper is a great thing to have inside your pack. And again, this is very small. This is barely bigger than, I don't know, what would you say, like a hot dog, essentially? I mean, it's not...
Yeah.
It doesn't take up a lot of space, but it's a lot of toilet paper. Then inside that same pouch, I've got my kill kit. So my kill kit is this sweet little makeup bag that I took from my wife. I don't care. I'm shameless. It gets the job done.
Yeah.
Why buy something when it's free? So inside here is where I'll keep my licenses. I've got wet wipes, and again, another little plastic bag, so diaper wipes I keep in there. I've got a couple different pairs of rubber gloves, like little latex gloves. Never know. Keep a little hand sanitizer.
Okay.
Want to wash up and clean some stuff off. I keep a little pocket knife, which I know some people don't want to gut with a pocket knife. I'm totally fine with using a pocket knife. I don't need like a full-on gutting knife. This one I can get into the places I need to. And then I keep zip ties in here. You might go, why zip ties? Well, first off, you might never know when you zip ties, but in the kill situation, when it comes to taking out the anus, to me that's the best way, is you cut the anus, kind of pull it out, zip tie it, so then when you come around the other side and you pull everything in, it's all zip tied, and nothing's going to come out of it, so you're not going to have bad stuff spilling into the carcass. Yeah. The anus itself is zip tied down.
I knew I was going to learn something from you. We just haven't had a chance to gut a deer yet together.
So it's,
I love that. Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Around,
pull outwards on it, zip tie it, and then it's all sealed, and then you can just pull everything straight through. So that's what I keep. That's a walkthrough of the whole bag. It's pretty simple, again, for like being opening weekend. It's super minimal. There'd obviously be more clothes in it, and then I just take all of this and it attaches right onto my stand. My sticks go on the outside of this, and I'm in and out of the woods, free to go.
No, that's good. So I was kind of going through and thinking about that too for mine. What I would have differently from yours, and I think, early season is much different than late season because, of course, we're going to have layers of clothes. And like I almost never walk out with gloves if it's negative 10 degrees or if it's 85 degrees, just because otherwise then your hands are super sweaty.
Yep.
And then your gloves will be wet for the day. So otherwise you got to bring extra gloves.
But my skull cap also will normally be the top thing in my top compartment, even above my binos. So so that'll usually lay on top, because I like to wear like this hat I'm wearing today out with me. I like to wear just my regular like trucker cap. So again, it breathes whatever the whole way out. Right. That just gets stuffed back into the bag, and I put the skull cap on when I'm out in the woods. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you just hold it all day. You don't pee all day.
You know what? I've never done a full day hunt to have to do that. Okay. And I mean, you've traveled to Canada with me. You know that I'm basically a camel. Yes. So I mean, I can go.
Well, I think you were part of the reason that Lake of the Woods was so high, because that one time was like 10 minutes. I swear it was. It was just
comedic
forever.
Austin Powers style.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. No.
Okay, so I always bring a bottle with, like a 1 gallon, like a milk jug or whatever.
Okay.
So I always bring that with just in case. I always have 4 hooks with me, just so that I can hang my pack and I can, hang my bow and all of that stuff. So I have 2 cameras and 2 mounts. Okay. Which, that'll be a little bit different for me this year. My knife, my tags. You have a backup battery. I always have a backup headlamp in mine, because I got a new headlamp for Christmas last year that I absolutely love. But I have my old one that is still functional. It's just not as bright, and it's not as, I don't know, it's just not as nice. Yeah. So I always keep my old one in my pack, just for whatever reason. If my dad needs it, or if you were to forget it or whatever, I always keep that stuff with. We have this like running joke between the two of us that I've forgotten my release a couple times. Yeah. So I have a second release in my bag that I keep in there at all times.
I do have one. I forgot one other compartment. I have the bottom compartment. I have it on the outside here. I unzip a bottom compartment.
Okay.
That During like really the cold season, I might keep a puffy vest down there. So again, it's the quickest, easiest to access. But this weekend, I've got the most useful accessory for early whitetail hunting, the Thermacell. And I have got a little sack here that is full of pads and cartridges, and again, some more smaller bungee straps, so I can strap this right either to the tree or right to a place on my stand. Yeah. This thing is, until, temps start dipping down into the, 40s, 30s, Thermacell, the greatest thing you can have while hunting.
Yeah. I got to actually make note of that, because I was looking at mine the other day. I got to make sure that I've got cartridges.
If you need them,
pads.
I've got enough to get you through, what the first day together. So. Yeah,
perfect. What else do we have? So backup release. I'm not as concerned about some of the, I don't know if you've ever seen these products where it's like calming sticks or calming scent.
Yeah, no, I don't. You know me, I don't bother with any scent. My cover scent is I've got my clothes in a tub in the back of my vehicle.
Pine needles
that I've just clipped off. I had to do some trimming on the cedars at my house.
Yeah.
So it's full of cedar down. And throughout the season, I'll occasionally grab some pine boughs and fill it in. That's my scent. That's all I do.
Yeah. So I have some stuff, this Evercalm stuff. It's super expensive. I don't know if it honestly works or not. It just was a part of a pack that I bought. So I usually bring that with, but I'm not necessarily as concerned about that. Just like you, a cold and a warm hat, I usually wear something out. And then, you know what, I didn't look at the weather before we started chatting about it, but I don't know if it's going to be like 50 something in the morning, or is it going to be warm all morning on Saturday?
You know what, I didn't even look. I can look at that, but I beve it's going to be around 60.
Okay, so that's not bad. So it's not like we're going to really cool off before it starts to warm up. So I always have two hats for that. A really thin pair of gloves, like not fleece gloves, but just like a really thin camouflage pair of gloves, like the cheap, ones that you can buy wherever for like $2.
65 you got for
65. Oh, so that we won't need a secondary hat. Toe straps or dragging straps. I have two that I bring with just all the time, just in case. You never know. My hoist rope. So where you have your dog leash, what I found last year that I really liked is because I swear it was every single time I would go into the woods or come out of the woods, I would always have a problem with my cords being tangled up. So what I did is it's hard to explain, but sometimes when you buy longer strands of rope at Home Depot, they come on this kind of rectangular or almost square with teeth on the end.
Yep.
That you can undo it that way. So you just leave the bail open, essentially leave the bail open when you're going up, and you never have more than what you need extended, and then you can just easily wind that back up and pull your bow up or pull your pack up or whatever it might be. So that is what I love, and I have not had an issue with it since then. So I'm thrilled about that. I love having those. They're a little bulky, but I don't know. I mean, it's not like I have that much stuff in there. Usually the worst days for me getting in and out of the woods is the very first time that we go up north, because I'll have extra stuff like my big camera mount and some of the other things. So this actually, that is such a small add-on thing to put in my bag. It's just a breeze to do it that way. Bino and rangefinder harness. One thing that I was thinking about, I can't believe how long my rangefinder battery has lasted. It always says that it's full power, but for some reason, I feel like at some point I'm going to get into a situation where it's going to just go from full battery life to dead, and I'm not going to have a backup battery. So I'm actually going to buy an extra battery and just put it in the Ziploc, or not the Ziploc, but the zippered pouch of my Bino harness. Smart idea. I always have it. Toilet paper, gotta always have that, even if it's just a little bit, you never know, for a variety of reasons. And then, the Thermacell. I can't think of anything else. I do bring a Nalgene bottle with, I just got this super cheap one from Walmart that just had an outdoor kind of get outside, whatever, that I bring with, because I don't know. I mean, we're going to be warm, so we want to make sure that we've got some fluids out there while we're sitting all day. And then I typically will bring an extra bottle or two of water just in case, like, I've never really worn gloves or anything when we, start cleaning the deer. So,
get the steel water bottle that I'll be taking out with me.
Yeah.
Because it takes up a little space. It'll keep things somewhat
and it's
cool.
quiet.
Exactly, it's quiet.
That's why I got the Nalgene bottle. So I typically will just have the extra water bottles in my bag purely for only after cleaning out a deer. And then, I think I don't know. I feel like there's always something else that we're forgetting, but you just got to get out there and make sure you got your release, your arrows. That's
all you really need. Release and arrows and a way to get up into a tree. Or really, you don't have to get into a tree.
You don't
can
even
stay
have
on the ground.
to do that, yeah.
Nope, all good to go. So there's our bag dumps. Again, you want to check out some photos of some of the stuff. It's up on socials On the Tailgate. I'm The Real Ritter. Wisco Bow Hunting is Eric Tasker. We're going to wrap it up this week. We're kind of running long on things, but it's a fun, exciting time getting into archery season, and then before you know it, gun deer season is going to be here throughout the Midwest. Thanksgiving's going to be here. We're going to be getting towards ice fishing, which we're going to have our good buddy John Resnack, one of the clam pros, coming to join us in a couple of weeks to talk about some of the new products, ice fishing, and getting you ready for that stuff, as we mentioned. Next week, Kaz from Buck Rub Outfitters going to join us on the show, so we'll talk a lot of deer hunting. Again, coming up next week on the show, and you can find it right here. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one, and this is Tailgate Talk.